If you have a hard time with boundaries, how might your life be different if you could say no as easily as a joyful yes? I'm Love Coach Mariya, and for over a decade now, I've been encouraging folks to empower their compassion so it's big enough for ourselves as well as others, and so our boundaries can become healthier than ever. You're listening to Empower Your Compassion, and on this show, we'll be unlocking transformative insights to help you reconnect to your true yes, so you can say no from that more expansive energy and get more of what you want in your relationships and your life without sacrificing your compassion. Are you ready for more love? Let's grow. Welcome back to the show where our compassion goes both ways. And today we're going to continue on with this solo series on the Gates method. Previously, we've covered the G, which is ground in your body and your values. The A is assess your capacity and your true yes. The T is for trusting in the other's ability to manage. And now we are at the E, which is express your no without disconnecting. And before I tell you one of my favorite ways to do that, I'm going to share with you a little story about my first introduction to healthy boundaries. It was with a local group who practiced something called authentic relating, and it was just the most amazing thing. They would say no without disconnecting. They would maintain friendly eye contact and stick around. It was so clear that it wasn't about me. It was just whatever was on offer. And that might seem obvious, but I hadn't really realized how often a no tends to either come off as either apologetic, I'm so sorry, or abrasive, like, how could you even ask me that? But with these folks, their no's were just so clean and light. It was just a simple no. It was alarmingly disarming. And it led me to really ponder like what was different about it and why did it feel so different. And I started noticing a few things over time. One of them was if they're so comfortable saying no, then their yeses are probably sincere, which means that I don't have to worry every time they say yes and be like, are you sure? Because I'm like conditioned to worry that they're just going to end up resenting me later. Because that's what so many others have done for me in the past, and I've probably done too. So because they were comfortable saying no, if I ask for something, they'll say no, which means if they say yes, they really mean it. And then I get to really enjoy their participation in whatever that invitation was for, knowing that they sincerely want to be there. And I also started realizing too how much I appreciate that if they don't want to do something, or maybe they don't have the capacity for it, then that means that they're going to take care of themselves and I don't have to take care of them for them, right? And another thing I realized was that because they were like fluent in boundaries and healthy boundaries, I felt really comfortable saying no to them also and didn't feel like I needed to worry about their feelings getting hurt or didn't even feel like I needed to give any explanations, although I also felt comfortable that like if I felt that I wanted to, be seen or heard in the circumstances surrounding the invitation and my no, then they would hold space for that. But it wasn't necessary. And I also knew that if I said no, they weren't going to try and like twist my arm and guilt trip me or beg or manipulate me into doing what they wanted me to do. And so all told, knowing that I could trust them to say no, that I could trust their yes, that I could trust them to receive my no, it just felt like a lot of safety and trust. And I was like, wow, what is this? And what the heck have I been doing all these years trying to be nice with my flimsy fences? And so as I continued on my path of healing into boundaries, I also had a realization borrowing from a previous career in dog training. And the place where I was trained to train, we used to say follow a no with a yes. So if you correct the dog, like, no, don't do that, or even just like make a loud disrupting noise to get them to stop doing the thing, and then you immediately praise them and say yes, because what you really want them to be doing is not that. So the moment they stop doing the thing, you're like, yeah, that, exactly that not that is what I want you to be doing. Anything else is great. Maybe not anything else, but So the follow a no with a yes started from dog training, but then as I was exploring this world of boundaries, I was like, oh, you can also say no to someone and then give a counteroffer that's a true yes for you. So basically, I'm not available for that, but I am available for this. This is my favorite way for this E part of the Gates method. Express your no without disconnecting. There's lots of ways to do it, but my favorite way is to follow a no with a yes. And hopefully that dog training story wasn't too confusing, because it's not really the same application. It's just kind of the same wording. But in this case, you say, I'm not available for that, but I am available for this. And it's really important that you don't just give some other offer that you're not fully aligned with. And it doesn't have to be apples to apples. So, for example, if someone says, do you want to do brunch today? And you're like, no, but can we do it tomorrow? That would be, more of the apples to apples. But if someone says like, hey, can you please help me with this? And you can't help them with anything, you can maybe just offer some just acknowledgement of their humanity and just say, gosh, I'm so sorry I can't help you. Or you don't even have to apologize, but gosh, I really can't help you, but I appreciate you. Or, but you're really doing a great job. Or, I hope you find some help, or just something to maintain that connection. And again, this is not necessary for boundaries. I just find this really helpful for recovering people pleasers as like a stepping stone, because no is a complete sentence can be really a bridge too far for our nervous systems when we're really wired for fawning. And that idea of disconnection and even conflict is just, quite frankly, almost paralyzing. And so to have this alternative option to not just have to say no, but realizing that you can follow it with a yes, makes it so much easier and gentler on the nervous system. And I do find that it really can make a lot of your boundaries a lot more comfortable to give and receive. Another thing you can do is kind of negotiate, like, gosh, I'm really not quite interested in that part, but can we do this part? Or like deeper level comes with that sort of like manipulation, guilt trip, pushback I referred to earlier. And we're going to talk more about this 2 weeks from now in the next solo episode on the Gates series when we get to the S, which is stewardship. But another version of no but yes is when they're trying to twist your arm and you're basically saying, my decision's been made, but we can talk about how it's affecting you. I can hold your hand while you process that. And again, we'll talk more about that in the next solo episode. And a fun little note to mention here as well, if any of you have ever done improv or anything adjacent to it, you're probably very familiar with the yes and that is a really wonderful way to keep connection open and just kind of keep the door open for possibility of action or thought or connection without discounting what came before. Yes, but they say tends to have an impact to the receiver as whatever came before the but becomes irrelevant. For the record, I don't necessarily think that's 100% true, but it is a generally good rule of thumb. The yes and keeps the yes open and then also makes room for more. That being said, in improv, no but has a similar effect. I mean, no in general is a little bit more restrictive, but when you follow it with a but, it's like, I'm closing this door, but I am keeping a door open. So not that, but this, no, but yes, is a way to just be like, hey, this is a boundary for me, but I don't need to close the connection with you. So I hope you find that helpful as you go about your boundaried life. And if you would like more wonderful tips, please feel free to go to boundariesthatfeelgood.com and you can download a rich PDF with a bunch of insights, all on the Gates method, some wonderful tips and tools, perspectives, scripts to use, such as following a no with a yes, as well as a couple others. And while you're here, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this show so we can spread the love. Wherever you're at on your journey, I send you so much love and courage. Namaste.